Hello and welcome to another new episode of Learning Simplified. And in this Inkscape tutorial for beginners, today we are going to learn about filling the objects or elements into Inkscape document with color. That means all those fill and stroke properties related to the object. Stay tuned. In that essence, the first thing that we are going to do, we are going to create an object, a rectangle right over here. As we can see that we have created this rectangle. Let's click on this select box, and the first thing that I'm going to do right over here is to turning off this document. In the next case, if we wish to change the color properties of it, the very first thing that we can do, we may right click on it. And if we select this fill and stroke, we can see that the document is immediately back right over here. Still now, if we close this doc, selecting this object, let's head back to path. And there it goes, the fill and stroke properties. The shortcut key is Shift-Control F. So if we click on it, we can see that the document is resumed here. If we wish to change the fill or stroke color, then the obvious point is just head down to this individual color palette right over here and select any color and click on it. If we wish to make this box red, then we'll be clicking on this individual red color property into this color palette, and we can see that the color is now changed to red. Similar thing goes for this stroke color. So we have changed the fill color and we will be now changing the stroke color, and in the same essence we will be heading back to this color palette. We will be holding down our shift key and we will be clicking on this definite color here, and we can see that the color is practically changed. The stroke color is changed to red too. So this is how we may change the stroke and the fill color. Right now, all I'm going to do, the very first thing is, I am going to change the stroke color into yellow. So there it goes, the stroke color is now changed into yellow. Now, for say, we wish to change the stroke width of this individual object, this individual rectangle. So that is why, head back to this stroke style, and here we can see that into this individual color fill and stroke properties box, this is the stroke style option, and here all it says about width, it is in millimeter right now. So if we just change this value, we can see that the stroke width property is getting enhanced. The stroke width is now set to 9.064 millimeters. And this will be the obvious result, as we can see into our document. And on the other hand, if we wish to change the fill color property into something else, like if we wish to change it into a linear gradient, then we need to check this individual box, and we can see that the linear gradient is now set for this individual rectangular element. Now, at the bottom, you might see that this is the edit gradient path. If we click on it, and if we have a look into our document, we can see that there are two nodes adjusted to this individual rectangle here. Practically both the nodes, they represent the color stop of the gradient that we set so far for this rectangular box. And we may change the gradient position from top to bottom, as we can see that we had set the gradient from top to bottom, or we may set it to some individual diagonal, as we can see here, or we may save it something like this one, from top to bottom, but with a little bit of enhanced gradient from the top. Now for this color stops here, as we can see that both these nodes, those are practically color stops, and we can see that for this last color stop, actually the alpha channel is set to 0. if we enhance this alpha channel, we can see that we have practically set it now to the maximum value of 255, and this gradient is practically now gone, and this whole box is now turning into a solid color of red. So this is the point from where we may adjust our gradient by clicking on this opacity level, or if we wish to change the color into something different, then all we need to do, we need to adjust the color channel right over here. As you can see, we have set it to something different, and now if we adjust this alpha opacity right over here, we can see that the bottom part of this individual linear gradient is now turned into green, and the opacity level is right now set to 255. Now similar thing goes for this top part. We may change the color property into something different here, or we may hold it and change the position, something like this. You may see that this individual color setting is now changed. The top is having a little bit of faddish red color, while the bottom part is having green of this individual rectangle here, this box. So this is how we may change this color property. Now if we wish to add some specific color stop other than these two here, this red color stop and this green color stop, then all we need to do, we need to double click at the center or at any point within these two different color stops. So here comes the third color stop, which has been added to the box here, and in the similar fashion we may change the color property of it. Like we may set a different color here, like this one. Let's do something like this. So we see that we are practically turning this color stop as a yellow one, and there it goes. It should be definitely a kind of yellow now. We may set this color stop into a different yellow color. So now this rectangular box is having a gradient which is having three color stops in it. The first one is red, the middle one is yellow, and the last one is green. This is how we may change all those colors from here. And not only this, we may change the gradient nature here. Instead of linear gradient, we may use this radial gradient here, and we can see that this will be the result. We are practically having three color stops here, remember? So we are now practically dealing up with three color stops, and the first one, the top one, was red, which is now having at the center. The middle one is yellow, and the peripheral one, that means the last color stop, it is practically green. So each of them is present into our document right now. This is the mesh gradient, and we can see that this will be the result. Here it goes. We may adjust the nodal point of this individual color stops. And another thing, this might be annoying that handle to corner, this kind of message box is appearing over and over into our document. So in an order to make it disappear, we need to turn the snapping off of this individual document. You can see that we have enabled snapping, and now we are disabling it. So if we now work with all these nodes right over here, you can see that no such message box is right now appearing. And from here we may change the color with the mesh gradient that we have practically enabled. In the similar manner, we may change the pattern. We may practically change it into some checkerboard like appearance here. This is the pattern changer right over here, and this is the fill color. Practically we are changing all the fill color of this individual rectangular box here. And in this drop down menu, if we click on it, we can see there's a lot of options right over here. So this is the stripes 1:1, this is the stripes 1:1 white, and in this manner there are a lot of options. Like we are practically turning on this checkerboard, and we can see that the checkerboard option is now turned on. There's mode to go, like this packed circles or like this polka dots medium or like this wavy thing right over here. So the point is, we may change this thing into, we may change the fill color into anything we want, into any pattern we want, and we may do so from this individual pattern changer from here. And the last one is the swatch. So all those things are being present right over here. We may work on it. We may use something like this one, this gradient part, or instead we may change the color property from the palette first. In the next case, first of all, let's select this solid color, and we can see that this is practically the blur. We may change this the blurriness of this individual element that we had created. So if we increase the blur, we can see that the object is getting blurred. Into this individual segment, we may set the opacity level. As I had told you previously, that we are able to change the opacity level of a definite element into our project. So if we wish to change the opacity of level of this individual element, first of all, let's have drawn another circle right over here. So we are now working with practically two documents here. The first one was the rectangle with some blurriness amount to it, and the second one is the circle right over here. Now if we wish to change the opacity level of this circle instead of this blurred rectangular box above, so first of all we have to select it, and in the next case we need to change the opacity level of this individual circle, like this one. So we can see that the opacity level of the circle is practically changed to this value here. This is the 34.8% of opacity level. Right now this circle is set to, whereas this rectangular box, it is practically having no such opacity level set for it. It is in 100% of its opacity level view. So these are some things related to color and fill stroke properties we are now practically aware of. In the next case, we will be learning all about setting the level of an individual element, like we will be working with 2, 3 or more individual documents drawn into our canvas, and we will be setting the level of each individual element which is being drawn. So if you guys have liked this tutorial, then do not hesitate to hit that red subscribe button down below. Hope to see you guys in our next tutorial. Till then, bye.